I did it for quite a few years back in the day, at least. So, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item with our meeting is to adopt the agenda. Is there any additions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, agenda is approved. Our next order of business is to approve the minutes.
I wanted to make a comment about, I've been, trying to get the, what's his name, sorry, Bill. Who's our?
Liaison?
Yeah,
Tim Miller?
Yeah, remember last meeting I asked if he'd check on that, see how much progress he made with contacting that person for the,
Oh, for that trail?
John Anderson Trail?
Yeah, John Anderson, but
Yep.
it's not mentioned in the minutes. I was pretty sure at the end I asked him that.
Yeah. we could-
Did,
So I was gonna just ask him again, I don't know if it has to be reflected in the minutes or not, but maybe that would remind him that.
I can add that to this minutes before, so if I added,
I think it was under council report.
Jefferson, wished to see what the progress was on the John Anderson Trail
Yeah,
with the local residents.
is he coming tonight?
I didn't hear that he wasn't, so.
Okay.
that's good. Maybe follow through with that. I know I mentioned something to him too, to contact me about looking at a couple books that I haven't heard from either, but regardless. Any other additions or corrections to the minutes?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it.
Been motioned and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved with the correction. Our next item, item 4, is park financial.
The only change on the park capital funds is, the $50,000 you see reflected in the second, the lower one there. That was for the, playground equipment at Coon Lake Beach. We just made the payment on that. We have that at Public Works. Hopefully in the next, maybe month or so, we'll get on that. We gotta get through our spring startup projects, get everything shaped up, and then we're gonna switch gears and get some guys working on getting that in. It should only take us probably about a week to install, so.
Are you guys doing all the install on that?
Yep, yeah, we've had, supervised installs in the past, and the guys have done so many of them now that they can do it on their own, no problem, so.
Good.
And that'll take about a week? you said?
Yeah, between tear out, put the new stuff in, concrete harden up, and add the new mulch.
Could you
weather.
possibly just email us so we can let the people know in the neighborhood?
Sure.
When
That
it's
would be
gonna
great.
happen?
Yep.
They're so excited.
Anything else, Nate?
That's the capital one. On the operations budget, that didn't hardly change much at all. We had a little bit of overtime snow plowing there on that one random storm, but that's about it.
I know last month Denise had a question regarding the professional fees, the
Yep.
service fees. Did you figure out what that was?
Yeah, I think I sent that out in the email to everybody.
Oh, did you? I must have missed
Yeah,
it.
it was,
Okay.
it was an insurance claim for the ice arena. We had a theft of the copper wire and the outdoor lights there.
Yes, now I remember, sorry.
And then, we have to pay it out of here. It gets reimbursed back to the general fund because this fund is only expenditures. We can't have, revenue showing up on this budget, so
Okay,
just an accounting thing. It's in the city's budget back in there. We had to pay, I think our deductible was $1,000 of it, so.
okay. Thank you. I apologize. I did read it. I just forgot.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions on the operations budget?
Nope.
Do we need to, this is just information.
This is just
right?
information, yeah.
Any other questions?
See Councilmember Tim coming in.
Hearing none, we will move to item 5, which is sidewalk and trail ordinance review.
This is what was tabled from our last meeting. Tim. And wasn't much progress on here. I was hoping, Bill would be here for it. He was kind of the one who wanted to kind of go over this too. We didn't find any other cities that had trail dedication fees, so not much new to report on this item.
So is the underlying question whether we want to start charging or not? Is that kind of
That's-
what you're posing for us?
Well, that's one of the options Bill brought up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the options are to change the ordinance, to enforce the ordinance. If you want to look at a trail dedication fee, there's a couple different options.
What was his idea again?
He just threw out the idea of maybe doing a trail dedication fee instead in neighborhoods where we're not going to put a trail in, to kind of build up a fund for trails.
Okay.
So we looked at a couple cities that have that. It was Andover, Ramsey, and the city of Chisago.
And this would be for new developments,
Be new
correct?
development, correct?
And how do you think that would be received by the group that's doing the developing?
It's another cost to them.
Right,
But the other option is it's already in our ordinances, they would be required to put a trail in, which is gonna cost a lot more than the dedication fee is gonna be.
okay.
But there again too, we haven't always enforced this if it wasn't part of our overall trail plan in the last handful of developments. This,
Yeah.
I think, went in, what does it say on there? 2007, right before kind of the market housing crash, is when the city passed this ordinance. So and there was a time there for about 6-7 years where we didn't have a single development go in. So
Okay.
this kind of got put on the back burner as they were trying to bring in new development. They didn't want to have any more barriers to getting the market back up and running a little bit.
Right,
But now we're kind of up and moving again, so this is kind of brought back up again, so.
Sure. I'm not opposed to it. I think we just need to be mindful of, could we restrict other, people coming in to try to develop? And that would be my biggest concern. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
I'm not opposed to it either. It's just what would we charge? None of these are like we are they? None of these cities.
No, they're a little bit more, I guess, developed from where we're at.
Is Chisago?
They have
Chisago's
a-
pretty busy.
Main downtown area, and, yeah.
Okay.
Highway
They
area.
have a little city. I'm not,
I don't know how much new development they have going on over there. Most of it's kind of built up, I think, but.
Where does mixed use fit in here?
It's not included in there. That was one of the things we kind of mentioned too, yeah.
What did Tim ask?
Where is mixed use in there?
Oh, okay.
So like PUDs, so if they do a PUD, a planned urban development, that has its own whole different set of rules. They typically have to have trails in there as part of the agreement. It's kind of similar to what like Elevage and Viking Meadows is considered kind of a PUD
Okay.
in that sense. This would be more for, your single family R1, R2 type developments that we see come in, kind of the bread and butter ones.
So do you think if we did this, we should go lower than Chisago?
It's up to you,
Definitely.
it's up to you guys. Pretty much any fee we charge for a developer is gonna get pushed back on the price of the lot and the price of the home, so.
Right.
That they're just gonna turn around and
Yeah.
add that to the cost of the house.
Bonnie, what are you thinking?
Kind of right with you guys, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, we used to have a trail fund.
We had a trail fund that actually had a general fund transfer every year,
Yeah,
and that was kinda cleaned out.
taken away, we'll call it.
Yeah, and they used the money to pay off some of the water and sewer type stuff.
Okay.
That was back in around 2011, I think. 2011, 2012.
Al, what do you think?
Well, I think we, probably need to figure something out, and, I mean, why have an ordinance if you're not gonna use it or enforce it?
Right.
But I guess I don't know for sure as far as, what would we
Could we do it?
what would be the right amount, or,
Sorry. Could we do it for, we have to do it all the same across everything, I'm guessing. Can't just say, on this development, we're gonna do this.
Correct, yeah.
Next development.
For the amount, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even if we wanna, maybe wanna do a trail construction at some point, we still have that option?
So I think, I would envision it taking place just like our park dedication, so that it would come before the park commission would decide, do we want the trail, or do we want
Mhm.
a fee in lieu of the trail?
I'd like that.
Yeah,
So if it fit into our trail plan, then maybe we have the developer construct it, and that's gonna be more money to the cost of the development, but it's also a benefit to the city and the residents that live there too, so.
Mhm.
well, maybe we start out low and see how it's received, you know, and then if we can, 5 years from now, raise it up a little bit or something. So,
Or how would we know, really, how would we gauge the amount we're gonna charge? I mean, it's really.
well, I was
Kind of a
just
shot in
looking
the
at
dark.
'Cause
what we've got
How
here.
much is that gonna be for the developer? 450 per unit, depending on how many houses they have, maybe?
So let's take Strandland Farms, the one that's down here in the corner, there's 20 lots in there, they had to pay $2,000 per lot for the park dedication fee, because we
Okay,
didn't take any park land in there, so that was $40,000. And then if it was 500, it would be another, $10,000 on top of that.
another 10,000.
So it'd be 20 times, well, I just use 500 because it's an easy number for math.
Mhm.
Sure, yep.
Yep.
But, so,
So what if,
But then that would be funds that would be directed towards,
trails,
trails, yep.
Right.
We'd
Within the city.
set up a separate trail
separate
park
fund.
fund, yep.
Yep.
And if it's dedicated money, it can't be used for anything other than
Mhm.
that. Like our park dedication fees, we can't use that to pay off the bonds or something, they have to
Sure.
be used for park development.
yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, if we start with, look at Chisago as the lowest, 450 per unit, and then maybe go a little lower than that, maybe go 350 or 300, just to start with, just to start to build up that account, so we have something for trails. I don't know how that would be received, but it would be a starting point. Unless we want to go lower than that or higher. What do you guys think?
What would that example be that you gave a minute ago, if it was 300?
20 times 300, 6 grand.
6,000, 6,000.
Still seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Well, it's a lot less than them
If they built a trail, it'd
building
be
trails,
significantly more than that.
yeah.
Like the trail we're building on Baton, it's 1 block, and it's about $20,000, so.
Well, that puts it into perspective.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a little bit more clear.
And then, so those funds come out of where?
Which ones?
For the
trail?
one
The
for
trail you're
Baton?
just talking
We're
about.
using our park capital funds for that.
Okay.
so this would create a fund just specifically
Specifically
for
for
that.
trails.
Yep, you can still use park funds for trails.
Sure,
Mhm. But you can't use trail funds for anything else but trails.
No,
If we
you
did
can't
that.
use park dedication, might be able to use for trails. Might be some gray area there,
Oh.
I'd have to check on that.
Okay.
But the park capital fund, which comes from the general fund transfer, that can be used for whatever park commission, the city council decides.
Mhm.
okay. Well,
When we decide our park dedication fees, basically, we just kind of look at what everybody else is charging, and we want to try and be competitive and stay in that kind of that same range.
Sure.
mhm.
If we think we're a more desirable place, we could have a little bit higher money. If we think we need to be a little bit more competitive, we could lower it down a little bit. That's kind of how we look at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I was looking at this as well,
Yeah.
not trying to go the highest and even go lower than the lowest, but I don't want to go too high if they're already paying for the park dedication fees. Thoughts?
Well, one thing we could do is, we can kind of know a little bit more about where we're at, and maybe table it till the next
We can table it, yep.
You wanna
Yeah,
have these other
till we
guys
have
see if they have
more
any
input.
At some
Sure.
point too, I'd like to have the planning commission weigh in on it, once we decide kind of what we're looking towards too. So we can table it for now and look at it next month, and then maybe give it to planning commission after. There's no real hurry on this.
Okay.
Oh,
There's
good to
no
know.
action
Yeah,
Good to know.
required.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, why don't we
Yeah.
do that?
I think
That's a
that's
great idea.
a good idea.
So
At least we kinda hammered some of
I'm
it.
hearing we're going to table this for our next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yep.
Okay, works for me.
We should probably do a
Yeah.
motion and a second.
I'll make a
to
motion
table.
to
Okay,
revisit this at the next meeting.
do I have a second?
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's been made to table this for our next meeting. Item 6, Maynard Peterson Park and Coon Lake Beach Park.
Item 6, consider providing direction for the remaining 2024 park improvements. This would be at Maynard, Peterson, and Coon Lake Beach. The 2024 Parks Capital Improvement Plan included $100,000 for park improvements at Maynard, Peterson Park and Coon Lake Beach Park. The Park Commission held a meeting in the neighborhood in the fall of 2023 and invited residents to provide input into what they would like to see completed. A new playground was decided for Coon Lake Beach Park and has been delivered. Installation will take place in the next couple of months with the cost of the playground at $50,000. At the March 12th, 2024 Park Commission meeting, the Commission discussed projects for the remaining $50,000 and staff have received quotes for some of those items. So I've included the skateboard park. The one that we have on here is included in attachment 1. That was $35,000. Shade structures, we talked about maybe over a bench at Coon Lake Beach Park, they were around $6,000. The zip line from Maynard Peterson Park, the one that we looked at before, Bonnie, I think it was like 13, that one was $27,000 now. So I contacted some other playground companies, and the one of them that seemed like a pretty good one was $19,000 for the zip line. The sky, that's a 100-foot long zip line on that one. The Sky Run 35 and 50 are I'll show you a couple examples here if I can pull them up here quick, just so we're all talking about the same thing.
I'm also curious about people there seems to be a lot of interest in this, the little bit that's been talked about, but I always get asked about the weight, how much, like, can I do it, like 150
Oh, yeah.
pound? And you mentioned yes, and I said
I've been on it. So this is the same one that's at the park in Blaine.
Flying through the air like a bird or a plane or even a superhero.
Oops, sorry. For some reason, it won't let this actual make a full screen on their website, but I'll try and get it in the center there.
Flying through the air like a bird or a plane or even a superhero. Kids will experience an adventure like never before on a playground with Burke's Zip Venture zipline. The zipline is built with an elevation change from start to finish so that you have an incline and you're getting some speed based on gravity. When kids are riding the Zip Venture, they get the feeling that they're flying. They have a free feeling with the air blowing and wind blowing through their hair. The riding experience provides a sense adventure for kids and they have a blast, but it also helps them develop vestibular and proprioceptive senses, imaginative and social play, strength, balance, and coordination. It also helps children take age-appropriate risks and develop that courage to try something new. While at the test site and taking videos of the Zip Venture, the feedback from the families, both the children and the parents, were that they were surprised to see an experience that they thought might only be at a theme park here at their local playground. There are a lot of different ways that you can ride the Zip Venture. The launch point allows you to get onto the Zip Venture in a standing position or a sitting position. If you're a little more adventuresome, there are ways to get higher and get a little bit more speed so that you can experience more flying through the air. Every playground should have a Zip Venture. This is Burke's new Zip Venture, and this is Play That Moves Me.
Looks like fun to me.
And then, so that's the actual zip line, and then there's another,
Nate, how long was that one?
I would say probably close to, it seems like the one in Blaine, the 100-foot one is a little bit longer than that one. That might be about 75 feet, that one.
This one on, that we just saw?
Yeah, it doesn't say it specifically. I'm just kind of guessing from looking at the last one. Let's see here. So these are the fixed rail systems.
Mm-hmm. I think this is what they have at Lions Park. Yep.
You can buy ones for adaptive seats on them. Some of these have 2 or 3 next to each other. You know, goes up the price, obviously.
Sure. And how long are these?
These are about 50 feet, the longest ones.
50 feet?
The benefit of those style is that you can go back and forth on them. You don't have to walk back up to the start to do it again.
Oh, yeah. You just kind of turn around and go the other way.
Yeah, they have a kind of a wave in them so they keep their momentum as they go. I thought there was another one here. The 50-foot, would be a single one is about the same price for a 50-foot.
And that, what was that price again?
About 19,000. That one's 66 feet.
Do we have enough room over there for that?
We have enough room for a 100-foot one, yes.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, we'd have more kids over at Maynard Peterson Park than we've ever had. We had one of these.
Yay!
They are so fun. I remember being at the Lions Park, and the line of kids was non-stop.
Yeah.
It just constant.
The zip
Constant
line,
kids.
even if this might be something we want to look at putting out here in Boucher Park too.
So
Talk
much
about our
fun.
capital improvement stuff. I
Yeah.
think this would be a huge asset to the park.
Oh, I do too.
When I've seen them in other parks, like the one in Blaine, there's a line for that, and there's, maybe a handful of kids on the actual line.
Yeah, great.
Every kid in there's got a big ring on their face and they're on it.
They are fun. I kind of like the fixed ones better, I think, because they can turn around. It's almost like a double ride, and then the kids, like at Lions, the kids stand on one end of it, and then the person that's riding it goes down, turns around and comes back, and then gets off, and then the next kid goes. So they get like, 2 rides out of it. It feels like 2 rides rather than one and then having to run back and get in line.
Does this one go a little slower?
It went pretty fast, what I remember.
I don't know on this, I'm not sure on the speed.
It was plenty fun. I even did it.
It's a little bit thick, so that you can you stand on this one?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
sure they
Yeah.
figured out a way.
On those discs, like the 2 are sitting on in this picture, were like the discs they were standing on in the other one, I think.
Yeah, I think they did stand on
Yeah.
it.
Depends on how brave the kids are.
Yeah.
Nate, you have a sky run on here, 50 and
This
And
is,
pretty-
Is that what
this
these
is
are?
what this is.
these are,
Yeah.
okay,
The different companies have different names for them.
okay.
I think this one's called a Zip Cruise. Each playground company has their own one.
Okay, got it.
I think I had another one on here.
So if we put 100-foot out there, down there, it would cost twice as much. But if we put the $19,000 one, that would be, the zip line would be 100 feet?
Sorry, so it was,
Okay.
the 50-foot, I guess you wanna call it, the Sky Run is 19,000 and the 100-foot zip line is 19,000. Basically the same price. It'd be a single line though. These show 3. There's only one actual
Okay.
ride.
And the zip line is a kind of a one direction,
Yes,
Right.
yep.
so then you gotta bring the thing back.
Bring it back, yep.
Wow, decisions.
Yeah.
Bonnie, what are you thinking?
I really like the zip line myself.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to John Jonathan Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Did he reach out to you?
We played phone tag and never connected today. The second time I called him, I left him voicemails and he left me a voicemail.
He thought that it may appease the people that were interested to do a smaller one that was cheaper.
A smaller half pipe.
Yeah, a smaller half pipe. The bad part is that it's wood. They're wood, and
Yep.
we didn't find one that wasn't wood. There was concerns about the vandalism of it.
So the ones we looked at are like this one from American Ramp Company. These are more commercial built, metal, vandal proof. They have hardware for the rails and stuff that you have to have a special tool so nobody can mess with it. The one that he had sent the information about is made out of 2x4s and plywood. It'd probably be fine, but there's it could be vandalized.
Yeah.
They can start those on fire and take screws out of them.
When I looked at that one too, I looked at it online, to get something comparable to what you got on the screen here, there were add-ons for each end. By the time you looked at all the options, you're probably looking at about the same price.
They had a different material for the decking that you had to pay extra for.
Right. And
They used, I think, birch plywood as well,
Yeah.
but they had came with it. So some of those are more like a homeowner's type, pipe, or if you had a private facility where you could keep an eye on everything all the time. They use them they had a couple indoor skate parks in Blaine there for a while. They had stuff like that. It was built like that. A lot of them, like I said, have gone to concrete just because there's no chance to damage it really. But the price goes way up on those.
Mhm.
This one is 12 feet wide. They gave us a price on another one that was another section wide, so it was 18 feet wide. And that pushed it pretty close to the full $50,000 then.
This one is 12 feet wide?
This one is 12 feet wide, yep. I
Okay.
think there's,
So 12 feet. Can you point to which section is 12 feet? Which direction?
this
1, 2,
piece.
and 3.
That
all
one,
in together.
okay.
So these are
Okay.
each
Okay.
4 feet wide.
Okay, gotcha. And then it's how many feet the other way?
40, it's probably.
Probably about 30 feet, maybe.
30 feet.
Okay, so 12.
Back to back
30.
on the top. I don't know if they gave us a dimension on that. 30 feet.
Okay. So 12 by 30.
I forgot to mention, he did say that he would be good for the 5,000, but there again, he thought this one was way a lot of money, and he didn't see the necessity for it. So I'm starting to second
Yeah.
If
guess
he'd,
Whether
myself.
or not it really,
if he'd
comes
really
to
come
fruition.
through, if we didn't,
No, I mean, he
He
said
would.
he would pay the 5,000.
Oh.
okay.
Put it towards it. I mean, he said, I'll put my money where my mouth is exactly what he said.
Okay.
But he also sent me the information and thought that if we could, because I told him we were looking at other options, a couple other things as well.
So
And
this-
my thought was if we could throw something cheap out there, put a nice zip line in, and we could get the shade tree. That was my thought.
Mhm.
And the shade would be over at the other park.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is the one he was talking about, and as far as I could tell, there wasn't, this one's shorter, it's 25 feet long, but it's a little bit wider, it's 16 feet wide. Extension shown in picture, not included. It didn't include, rails on it at the top.
Yeah, he
Right.
Right.
did mention that.
And the top was real narrow as opposed to the 4 foot wide on the other one that you're looking at. I think you'd have to put an addition on to make the top flat.
Yeah, I think
Wider.
I think it said something about this extension shown in picture not included, it's additional $779.
Both of those zip lines can be used in the winter as well?
Yeah, yep. Talking to a couple of the reps, the fixed one is a little bit less maintenance. With the cable one, you have to tighten the cable once in a while. It stretches over time.
The,
I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that was one thing they said. It's a little bit less maintenance on the fixed rail rides, but we're okay. We can tighten the cable, so that's not the end of the world either, but. And like I said too, if we don't get everything done in this round, we have, capital improvement plan, we can add stuff in the future.
how would that work?
We'd have to just, when we do our capital improvement planning, pencil it in, cause when we get down to that, there's a lot of open projects, we have space for stuff to go in.
Would it happen this year, would we have to push it up to next year?
It'd probably have to be pushed back. Our budget would be down pretty low after this year, after we take care of a couple of these other stuff we're working on.
I've got one, how long would it take to put that in there, that zip line?
To install it?
Yeah,
Not very long, couple days.
okay, how long would it take for us to get this stuff, do you think?
That I don't know. It could be 6 months on some of this stuff. Depends on the manufacturers. We've had some stuff that shows up pretty quick and other stuff that takes half a year. The playground we ordered for Coon Lake Beach took about 4 months to get from the time we ordered it. That's why we ordered it last fall right away, just to get it moving.
So that could happen with the skateboard thing?
Yeah, I mean, the skateboard one, he did have, on the skateboard part itself, let me check, he did give me a timeline on that one. Because we ordered the one from Booster Park. You know what, I think it is quite a ways out.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm really struggling with this thing. We've got a annual meeting at the community center.
Mm-hmm.
The end of this month, and we're doing a dinner, and I anticipate there'll be a lot of people, they're all from the beach there. And
Yeah.
My thought was to possibly pass around or do a ballot or something.
Sure.
We're doing ballots anyway, to get the full input from that piece of the community, it is significant. What is it, how many people, Al, do you think if 3/4 of them show up? 100?
Yeah, it could easily be 100.
And get the input from them, zip line versus rail, and maybe we can't do a splash pad, that's like way too much, or some sort of water little thing.
Splash pad would be a lot,
Okay.
just because of the plumbing involved, and that would be tough.
That was another one that there was a lot of interest in. But that's kind of what I was thinking. I want to see it happen personally.
So would you present a couple different options, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously we can't do a presentation like this, but
Good, you can send all this stuff. Paper copies, even if you wanted to hand out some brochures, I have catalogs that show pictures of all the different stuff too you could use.
So Bonnie,
Yes.
I'm confused. So you'd want to, just let me understand what you're saying. So for the half pipe, would you present that to them, or just say, this is what we're getting?
no, here's where we're at. We can get this, this and this, we can get the zip line, we can do the shade.
So we'd be looking for priorities. So this is what we wanna do first,
Yeah,
and what can be pushed off.
What do you guys want? That's kind of where I'm coming from, because I'm really struggling with this.
Was there a lot of interest in the
I was in the
skateboard?
hospital, I was not at that
Was
meeting.
there a lot of interest in that, do you remember?
In the half
Skate-
pipe?
Yeah.
Skateboard stuff.
Skateboard stuff.
There was a
There
few
was-
people.
Yeah, a few people interested that were probably more
Oh.
vocal about it than.
Yeah, they
I don't
were.
know,
Zip line
I
wasn't
don't.
even.
I think
I
the
can't
vote-
speak for everybody, but I don't think that a high percentage of the residents would care either way, whether there was a skateboard park or not.
Yeah.
That's where, that's
Yeah.
That's-
my,
My gut feel,
Yeah, do we really want to throw, how much is it, $35,000?
well, 30 if John, I do believe he
Yeah.
would put that
Okay,
Yep.
do we
5,000.
really want to put that towards that, or would you rather have two half pipes, you know? Or not half pipes, two
Zip line.
zip lines, yeah.
side-by-side zip line.
Yeah, we could do those two fixed zip lines or something, or one fixed and one not fixed or something, or just two non-fixed, whatever. What do you think?
Well, that's where I'm coming
Yeah.
from.
I really,
They want?
And get a consensus from, I'm just throwing it out there. You guys
No,
go there and-
I'm totally with you. The half pipe, my kids, our grandkids, I don't think, at this point anyway, they don't care about that, but that's just us, you know. I think getting a kind of a vote,
Yeah.
do a little ballot for them and have them do it, and then we figure out what's the consensus. I think that's a great idea. Can we wait? Is that okay, Nate, if we do that?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd bring back
Yeah.
the results.
Yeah,
Take a little bit of time to make sure we do the right
So if we were to
thing.
do that, I feel that we should actually, I personally need, because I am on the board, the actual, here's what we got. We got this, we got this, and maybe this, 2 zip lines, 1 zip line, and a shade thing at the park, or 1 zip line and maybe another piece. Help me out here.
Yep,
Nate.
yeah, I can get you all that stuff and get you the actual quotes and a picture of it, that's no problem.
That would be great.
I don't, when you come to talk about like half pipe like this, I don't think we can put this in a city park, just because of the liability, without having the guardrails around it,
Mhm.
the construction. It'd be like, that's kind of the reason some of the stuff is so expensive, is there's liability built into it.
I did mention that to
Mhm.
Jonathan. when
It's
I
like,
talked to him.
Yep.
our playgrounds are expensive, you can't
Yeah.
just go to Costco and buy
right,
one and stick it in a park.
Yeah.
because-
right,
That's what I thought when I looked at this
yeah,
website as well. You
yeah.
know, the
I
price-
said I
Unfortunately, that
wasn't
kinda
sure that
comes
it would
with-
fly from the liability.
The city
When I talked to
liability
him
side of
second
things is.
And that might be
big.
good if you can connect with John and tell him that,
Yeah.
you know. He maybe needs to hear that from you in order to put that to rest.
'Cause there's a ton of companies that make these style for homeowners or private groups or whatever.
Right, yep. But we don't want to put something in there that's gonna burn, fall apart, you know.
Or have liability.
Well,
for-
liability-
Absolutely
liability.
liability,
Yeah.
right. We do not want to have any of that.
I think he could intimidate enough kids in the area where I don't have that concern necessarily, although it did come up about, possibility that the toilets getting tipped over.
Hmm.
But, that's what I would propose to do. So do you
So
want a
would-
motion, do you want a table, or how do you want me to present this, Nate?
There was no required action on this, it was kind of more of a discussion item. If you wanna, we can just put a motion, if you wanna just do a motion to table, that's fine. Until you get some more information from the community of Coon Lake Beach.
I think we should come up with a list of options, though, to present to at the board meeting or the annual
Yeah,
meeting.
Nate was gonna put that
He said
together.
I can do the half
Okay.
pipe, I can do the single zip line, they do make actual zip lines, we can do the single and double rail, we'll call it the rail ride.
Mhm.
the 50-foot length. Is there anything else you wanna see added onto that? The shade structure?
Yep,
There's a couple different ones on there. They're all kind of around that $6,000 range for the single
Oh, and
post.
possibly a gang box. I did get a gang box approved, but the one at Coon Lake Beach Park is not in very good shape.
So somebody kicked a hole in the side or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the top has been repaired a few times, so I got approval in my budget last night of getting one gang box over at the ball field. But my thought was, maybe if we're getting a new one, we should put it at the park and then see what happens with the old one, or maybe we could incorporate that gang box into our 50,000 deal over there. I pretty much squeezed as much as I could get for our 3 parks.
I can check and see if they make a really durable one too. I don't know if I've ever saw those anywhere, but.
Well, last night, a couple of the guys got on their Google or whatever, and they came up with $375 for the one that they were gonna order.
For the resin ones, yeah, okay.
I think it was $375 or $325. I thought they were $275. That's what I threw out there.
Okay, then do we have a motion to table that one then?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
But we should bring it back by next meeting though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we should have answers.
Well,
by
we
then.
should have the information from the community by then, because the
Yeah.
We're
meeting's
gonna do anything
the end of
summer.
this
It's
month.
this,
so.
it's this month. It's the 20th,
Yeah, I'll bring
isn't it?
back the
27th.
consensus.
27th, okay.
I would feel more comfortable myself.
And it might be, 6 months, it might be fall by the time that portion of it gets completed, but we will have the playground and stuff done, so there will be some progress taking
Mhm.
place down there, so.
Sure.
Do you want to finish the motion, Bonnie?
Pardon me?
We have a motion, we
Yeah.
have a first and a
I'm
second.
sorry, yes. we-
Yeah, you're in charge. You
I
need to
missed
keep
my-
things
I missed
rolling.
I know,
I'm in
that's
a fog
okay.
here. We have a motion, and do we have a second?
Yes,
Okay.
you seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will, motion's approved to table until we get some more information next meeting. Item 7. 2024, 2028 park capital improvement planning.
This is a continuation from our discussion last month, and I've attached a draft 25 to 2029 Parks Capital Improvement Plan developed from discussions at our previous Park Commission meetings. We will discuss those projects that are listed for 2025 and determine if future projects need to stay in their current funding year or be rearranged to reflect any changes in our park priorities. Other projects can be added and existing ones can be deleted if there's a need for restructuring the schedule. If the Parks Commission is satisfied with the draft CIP or any changes they want to add to it, then a recommendation can be made to City Council. If further updates are needed, a recommendation can take place at a later meeting. We'd like to have this done for sure by the end of next meeting at the latest, so we can include this with our budget planning for the City Council, the 2025 budget. We try and have all that stuff in by the beginning of June for that process, so. On the first page, we have the Park Acquisition and Development Fund. That starting beginning balance, I can't guarantee that that's correct. We're still in discussions on what the appraised value was of the Elevage Park dedication. So that one's still gonna be up in the air. We will have $40,000 from the Strandland Farm, that's included in there. The 363 that we see there in 2025, that is from the park dedication for Viking Meadows. That's kind of already all been discussed and agreed upon. With our new formula, it makes this process a lot easier doing the $2,000. The reason why we don't know Elevage was based on that old
formula.
value, 10% of the value minus
Sure.
what they did. So it's still going on, so. And depending on how much we spend on that park, I just put 350 in there. I don't know what that's gonna be. It's kind of just a shot in the dark. They would like to see all of that put right back into the development. I think 350,000 can do a lot for a park. we might have some money left over to use in a different park too, so. And then going on from there, we just kinda used $40,000 as a placeholder, you know, a single development with 20 lots seems to kinda be the standard for a 40-acre plot that we have come in, so. But that one has a lot of, variation in it on that side. We did remove, we had park, on the 2024 for this year, we had the, park shade structures, and it looks like we will be able to fund those out of this fund, so that was removed as well. So that was taken into account for that beginning balance. We should have 2 new shade structures for Booster West this year, probably after the ball season this year. And then going down into 26, 27, 20, I really don't have a lot of items in there. We talked about adding some park pavilions either in Booster Park or one of our more used parks. Nothing in 2027. We have kind of a placeholder in 2028 for the Booster West ball field lights. I know that's been a request from a lot of residents, some past city council members and the park commission. Unfortunately, it's a lot of money. And if we find a way to fund that, it shows a negative balance after that, but we just kind of keep bumping that down until we have enough money to pay for it.
Did we look into a grant?
Not for the ball fields lights, no.
Is there, do you think there might be one?
I don't know on ball field lighting itself. They typically like to see more park development for like
Yeah.
playgrounds and trails and natural areas, things like that. The ball field lights might be something from like a Twins type grant, community fund kind of thing. We can keep looking on that. If anybody has any ideas too, they can let me know and I can dig into further on that one. So I didn't really have any other projects added onto that list for right now. Is there anything anybody else wants to see added to that?
Nate, could you explain the difference between these two? Because I get really confused when I look at them.
Yep, so the Park Acquisition and Development Fund is from park dedication money.
Okay.
So that's like when Strandland Farm, we get the $40,000, that stays in this fund and it can only be used for park things.
Oh,
park-
okay.
Park items. Typically, it's used for either buying new parkland or developing new parks, but it can be used for redeveloping existing parks too.
Okay.
It can't be used for anything else. If it does, it has to be just, all you can do is give it back to the developer is the only option for this money is what I've been told. The second fund is the Park Capital Fund, and this is money that comes from the general fund. It's a general fund transfer. So this is from the taxpayer base.
Oh, okay.
And this money, in theory, could be used for anything in the city. Right now, it's budgeted for park stuff.
Okay.
In the past, this is what was cut back when
Okay.
when times
Now
were
it
tough.
makes sense.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then we had another one, it was a park trail fund that was cut back as well.
Okay. Thank you. That really helps. I kept looking at it going, I don't understand.
Well, which one of these would we put the zip line in? Or who's-
So that's already funded in the Park Capital Fund for 2024.
Oh, for Booster?
Oh, no, sorry, no, for Booster. It could be in either one, really.
Well, no, because I thought we were gonna put one out at Coon Lake, but I bet you I think we should put one here.
I think one at Booster would be a big hit too.
So
Yeah.
which one of these?
You could add that
Ask him, I
in
don't
in
know.
either one. Yep, either one of those.
What would make the most sense?
Because is that what you're asking?
The Park Capital Fund is a little bit more easier to plan for because we kind of know what we're getting and what we're spending.
Because of your tax base and stuff?
Yep.
And your percentages?
The only reason that would change if the city council decided to lower or raise that amount. We kind of built it back up. It was at 100,000 back in 2010 and it went down, I think it was down to 50 at one point. And we slowly built that back up. And now right now, we could ask for more if the commission wants to. I just have it set at the same amount right now.
Do you see that overall for the city, with all of the Viking Meadows going in and all of that, the tax revenues should be higher, right? We'll be bringing in more money. Would we get more money because of that
Yep.
in the future?
You have to ask for it.
Oh, okay, you have to ask for it. So you only get a certain amount?
City council.
Okay. So you just get a flat fee right now every year, that's what comes into the capital
Each
fund?
year it's its own battle
Okay.
royale for money, so.
Okay, gotcha. I have no idea how
The
this
only thing
works.
that's guaranteed on here, it would be 2025 with next year's budget. The rest of these are not guaranteed. The
Okay.
council could change, a new council could come in and say,
Mhm.
we want zero, we wanna, or they could say, we wanna triple this amount.
Okay, well, that helps me understand.
Let's talk about how long it's been that way. I can't remember. It's been that way for a long time, right?
At this amount?
Yeah.
We just got it back up there, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year ago even.
What was it before that?
Well, it was at 50 in 2012, and then we kept bumping it up 10,000, 5,000. Every year we try and get it back up. And
To
kinda-
100?
Our goal was to get it back to 100,000.
Okay,
And the price of playgrounds and all this stuff is going up, so there's no
Mhm.
escalation, cost of living increase built into this, so.
right.
if-
So at some point, we may have to
So,
go
and
to the
as,
city.
as
or
we get
to
more
the
developments
council.
and more parks to maintain and whatever, that, it makes sense that we would ask for more at some time, some
Correct,
point,
yeah.
But getting back to what you were saying, where would it come from for the zip lines?
Cause it looks like there's only 17,000 left, right?
After 2025, that's what so for 2025, we have the Baton Street Trail segment. That,
We have to
I'm not
keep it.
super
Don't
confident on
keep
that
that?
amount. What's that?
That the town would kinda have to keep that.
That's what the commission has
Yeah.
said in the past, yep.
That we're trying to get that done.
I'm going off of our engineer's estimates from the past, based and compared to what we're paying right now for it. That section's a little bit longer, we're gonna have to contract a lot of that portion out. So there is some variability once we get bids on that, that could change. So 2026, we have, nothing really planned in there. I put $90,000 in the spending, but no specific projects really. That's kinda what I'm hoping the park commission can.
So maybe we can add that to that year on,
Yeah,
under
we could-
the capital fund?
Absolutely, yep.
I think that's a good idea.
I put pickleball courts in there for those 2 years, just because that's kind of the biggest thing I've heard from, but it's
Yeah.
also adults that are calling,
Right.
so they're the ones with the phone number and the
So-
means to call and ask for it.
Yeah. So
And the ones that are gonna be playing more than
pick-
the.
Yeah,
pickleball courts with zip line right next to it, so the kids can play while they're playing pickleball.
Yeah.
You know? No, I think that's a great
so
idea.
really, after the batons, there's really no specific trail, so we could fill in anything in there. We've pretty much upgraded all of our playgrounds up to new standards, so we have a break from that for a while, and we can look at totally new ideas for our park system, so.
Okay.
Do they make I've been told no, but I'm asking, do they make a cornhole thing that's not wood, that's weather resistant to be outside?
They make one, it's made out of concrete. We looked at it a couple years ago. The issue was how would, people would either have to bring their own actual bean bags, or there's no way to really, we don't have a park and rec department where you could check it out from to use it and then bring it back when you're done kind of thing.
You mean the bags?
The actual
Yeah.
bags themselves,
That I'm not concerned about. What I'm thinking about, I'm kinda ratcheting it back to Coon Lake Beach or Maynard Peterson, cause that's another thing that I actually brought up, and I was, no one had ever heard of one that was user-friendly, that was weatherproof.
Yep, they do make concrete. They're solid concrete.
So they're permanently in place.
Yeah.
Permanently in place, you can't move them, yep.
Mhm.
Do you know how much they are?
We priced them out a couple years ago. I don't off the top of my head. I can send that out in email tomorrow or Thursday.
Could you maybe throw that in there
Yeah.
with the rest of it?
I think we talked at the time, I don't know if you remember, we talked about that, and we talked about, permanent, like, concrete picnic tables with chessboard on them,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Right.
So we had pricing on some of that stuff.
So if we add the zip lines back to Booster Park again, what year would that go into?
Anywhere after 2025.
Okay,
Just
So
put
you
it
could put a
anywhere.
line item in 2026 for that then, huh?
maybe
Yep.
with the pickleball courts?
Yeah, the pickleball courts, I think we're kind of estimating between 20 and 30,000 a court.
Okay,
So if you had 2 courts,
60.
60, you'd have 30,000 left for, or you could just do one or put pickleball courts all in 2027, whatever.
Yeah, I think we should at least add it. a zip line in there, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I would entertain
I
a
think
motion
they're
for that.
great.
And move it
Yeah.
up if we could, but if we could.
Yeah. Yeah, 2026.
I'll put it in as zip line / rail rider. We could decide when we
Yeah.
get closer
Yeah.
to see maybe
Yeah.
what becomes more popular.
Right.
Probably a booster, we want a double one at a minimum.
We should get one for the handicap too, somewhere. I mean, that would be so much fun
Or do
for
a triple,
someone.
they make triple ones too.
Think about that.
They get a little bit cheaper as you add on because you don't have, you have one whole set less poles to do.
Right.
Oh, sure.
So
Okay,
from 1 to 2 is not quite double, it's a little bit less than double to add on to it, so.
sure.
So I can pencil that one in for
26?
2026.
That looks like fun. And then Bonnie, you wanted to have him look at those concrete cornhole, and where would we pencil that in?
On this,
Yeah,
well, it would depend upon the money. I was actually thinking I was ratcheting back.
oh, you want to go back
That'd
to
be-
what,
Yeah,
to
Add that-
now, as
add
part of
that-
the 50,000?
yeah,
Oh, we need to find out what the prices are.
that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
threw it out there.
Oh, I thought you
But
were
it could-
thinking for the future.
But I think it would be a plus.
It could
Uh-huh.
easily be added to whatever you're gonna present to the community.
Correct.
Right, if we
to-
know the amount.
To help prioritize, right?
And I would hope that they would give the same feel. You guys play
Mm-hmm,
bags all the time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I'm not willing to give up something big for
No.
that.
No, I totally agree,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm curious what the price is on them, because
Yep.
I wouldn't think as I'm trying to remember the chess thing, I didn't think it was horribly expensive, but I can't remember.
It's okay, we
Remember
can.
that? The chess one, when we were looking at alternative
Yes.
paths for parks?
Yep.
I just think it would be a nice addition to,
Is there
I know
anything
it would
else you
fly
can think
big
of?
on the beach, but I think it would be a nice addition
Wish we had
to
Denise here.
possibly some other parks as well.
Tim?
This is the one we looked at before.
Oh, so it's only 1,400?
That's for one set, two actual boards.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
Why don't we put one of those in for, 2027
For,
in the park capital?
For which park?
I hate to say booster again, but
well,
we could put it where do they still have the, what do you call it? Where you throw the horseshoe up there? Is that still there?
They're still there.
Nobody plays with that.
I've never seen anybody use them.
horseshoes?
Yeah, kind of the same game. Same issue
Yeah.
there. You have to bring your own horseshoes. This one you'd have to
Bring your own
bring your own
bags.
bags.
Yep.
I think it would be
Bag
a
would be a
hit
little bit easier.
myself.
You think what, Bonnie?
I think it would be a hit in whatever park. I mean, not necessarily one of the little tiny neighborhood ones, but one of our bigger parks.
I think
that are used
Booster,
more, like
yeah.
Booster.
Yeah.
Could we have, like a bunch of them or a box of them at City Hall here just for the day? People wanted to do it during the day. And they could bring them back, put them, throw them in the box in the hallway.
Yeah, we probably could. I
Just,
don't see why
and
not.
then on the weekend, you wouldn't have to do it, you know. At least it's something to do.
And the bags aren't that expensive anyway, are they?
No.
You could probably make a bag.
This is the list price. We typically get it for a little bit cheaper than that.
Okay.
How's John Anderson going over there? Is that popular? still?
That one's our probably our second busiest park.
So we could do one over there, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe do one there, for that price, do one there and do one here at Booster. And then we'll entertain it for now, for
at the
Coon
beach.
Lake.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
might wanna put like a zip line over there too. That would get more people over there.
At
At
John Anderson.
Yeah.
John Anderson.
Keep it busy. You know,
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
beautiful
how
park.
that
Yeah.
is.
It gets rented, that's, you know, it gets rented a lot for the pavilion and the beach there and stuff. It's our second busiest park.
I think once we start getting these zip lines, all the parks are gonna want them.
Yeah.
Because they're so much fun for those kids. They
Yeah.
just love them. So maybe put them in, future at some of the other parks. That's a really good idea.
I can pencil in stuff, and like I said, one thing that actually gets approved is the stuff in 2025. The rest of it is just for planning placeholders, and we'll take a look at it next year if we decide, yeah, these are really nice, we can add more. If we say they're a bust, we
Mhm.
can take them out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's a starting point.
Yep.
I'll add, so instead of like new park, I'll put a placeholder in there for John Anderson and Booster. Any other things that the Park Commission would like to see?
Well, you know, Denise asked about a fishing pier.
So
Oh,
I
yeah,
co-
at Coon Lake.
Yep,
I
so
don't remember which lake.
well,
Lake.
they'd mentioned John Anderson. There really isn't fishing in John Anderson and Cooper's Lake. That freezes out a lot each year. We talked about Coon Lake. So I talked to Anoka County about the possibility of having one at their park. And then she, if you remember Karen that was here that gave the presentation, she mentioned at the time, and it kind of jogged my mind, that the lake is too shallow over
Yep.
there. The pier would have to go a long ways out, and they were worried about
That's
it being a
right.
safety hazard.
Yeah.
So we really don't have a spot. The part the city owns is kind of the same way over by the sandbar. It's really shallow, and you have to go a long ways. The possibility of maybe the community center would like to pursue it in the channel somewhere,
We looked at that before,
and
and there was a grant.
the DNR would be the one to talk to about that. They typically will build those for. That might be something you want to bring up to the community center
Mhm.
at your next meeting down there too.
We do have 2 docks that are used somewhat for some fishing for kids, right by the
Yeah.
boat landing there, right by the center. But it would be great to have something dedicated for that, but have to see, I guess.
Yeah, at the time when I brought up the pier, I thought it was a great idea, and it was the DNR, I think, as I recall, it was darn near free, but at the time, the board that we had were kind of stuck in the muds, and they didn't want anything happening in front of the community center. Now it's evolved, we have totally different people, different residents, I mean, it's just
I
it's
wonder
like
if
black
it
and
wouldn't be
white.
well received now.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a whole different generation of people, really, than from before. So, yeah, it's something worth looking at, for sure. That'd be kind of cool. I think, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, I think so.
Couple other items we had talked about, they were talking about maybe some solar lights in the park there. There's not a very good, we weren't able to find a very good example of a commercial solar light price. We found some that were anywhere from $500 to $1,000, but they didn't really come with a commercial grade pole to go on. I have seen some around, we just haven't been able to find them yet, so I'm gonna keep working on that. That's something we can add later if we need to too.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
And then, the kayak, she had mentioned the kayak rental. I had a price on that too.
Is that at John Anderson?
Yeah, I talked about John Anderson and at Fish Lake. But I believe when we looked at it, it was really expensive. Our proposals in here. It was $18,000 up front for you get it for 5 years.
Yikes.
And then the people would have to pay to rent it on site, to rent the kayaks.
So does that run like who manages it? Is it like a vending company kind of?
Yeah, this one's called Rent Fun. There's a couple of them out there that do this. I know Anoka County was kinda looking at it too.
Looking at or has one?
They don't-
I think they have one. Don't they?
I don't know, they were looking at putting one in on Coon Lake Beach with the park on their proposal.
You know, out in Lino there, where the sanctuary is?
The,
Thought they
is
had
it the
like-
Wargo Acres?
Yeah, I thought they had them out there.
Do they? They might, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think they do have them out there.
I don't know. Do they kick back any revenue on that?
50% of rental revenue.
Comes back? Oh, could be a revenue generating thing. Maybe it would pay for itself over time.
Yeah, I'd like to maybe, I can follow up with Anoka County and see if they have one over there and see if it's worthwhile or how much hassle it is.
Yeah, yeah, because it could be a horrible hassle.
Might be more problems than it's worth, but.
Yep. For sure.
How about Nate, do we wanna, are you done over there?
Yep.
Do we, remember a while ago we talked about, with our vandalism, how's that going? So remember we were thinking about getting some cameras? Cause maybe now they're cheaper.
Vandalism goes in kind of streaks. We've been, knock on wood, we've been pretty good other than the ice arena. Ice arena's had a lot of vandalism. They stole the copper wire out of there, they stole all the rubber flooring that was taken out.
Have we got any cameras out there?
Nope.
Maybe we should get some.
We've talked about it. Part of the problem with cameras is it's hard to identify anything, people on them.
Yeah.
The rubber flooring,
Yeah.
From inside the building?
what is the point?
It was heavy. It was thousands of pounds. They had to use a skid loader to load it
Shut up.
overnight sometime.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
People, yeah, take anything if it's not bolted down, I guess.
Anyway. Okay. How do we feel? Anything else? Anything? Bonnie still wants her sliding hill.
I do.
You gotta have some snow though, man.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
have snow.
I know, but it's so cheap if we can find a spot. It's such a cheap, fun thing to make happen. We can find a
We'll have to
spot.
keep thinking about that one, Bonnie.
Oh, I am.
We both are. We'll put our heads together.
What's that thing
That's the kayak rental.
there?
That's the actual
Oh.
unit.
Yeah, that could be vandalized pretty easily. Could see that happening.
Yeah, you'd want it in a visible location for sure.
Yeah.
That was kind of the worry with the one, if it was out on Fish Lake, it's way back in the woods to where
Mhm.
that's located at.
Ooh.
John Anderson could be a little bit more visible for a couple houses that live there, but there again, it's kind of secluded too.
It's 18,000 up front, and then you probably get to recover or pay for any lost kayaks and stuff, I
Yeah,
suppose.
there's probably some insurance.
Oh,
agreement.
yeah, I bet. Might not be worth it.
Doesn't thrill me.
That's a little scary.
Any other additions to
Not that I can think
what
of.
we're looking here?
No, I think throw
We
a
don't
couple.
have now, Nate?
Yeah, why don't I put these in there so we have an actual numbers and then we can vote on it at the next meeting for city council.
Okay.
Okay.
Okey-doke.
Maybe I'll have a elevage final amount by then too, which should make that a little bit more firm on that side.
Sounds like a plan.
Moving on, our last one is item 8, city council report.
Good evening, Parks.
Hello.
Nice weather.
Yeah,
City Council, they've been pretty busy lately working on a lot of variances, both business-wise and for residential. We're basically trying to clean up the slate, so to speak, because we do have, and we're getting geared up to tackle the city's budget again. One of the key things that was decided last night, and we're gonna move forward with a couple small adjustments to it, but we're looking at doing a full audit of the fire department's operation, and this is being done to to make sure they are running as efficiently as possible while making sure the fire department has everything they need in terms of tools, equipment, and this is done to make sure our residents are receiving the best coverage possible. It's going to be going over equipment, response times, replacement equipment plans, protocols, SOPs, you name it, from top to bottom. When you've had a department that hasn't been audited for a number of years and you've gone through a couple of internal chief changes, you might have the tendency of not really making any changes or being exposed to other changes that other fire departments are doing. This is going to give us a real good look at all the positive things that are going on and all the opportunities, that could be ahead for our department or any concerns. It's a huge portion of the city's budget on our fire department, and we want to make sure that we are getting the best possible fire department across the board. This isn't a witch hunt trying to find, who's doing what or this or that. This is an opportunity for us to take a look at our department, make sure it's funded properly, the dollars are being spent properly, and the coverage is proper. We talked with Chief Santos prior to even agreeing to this, and he was 100% for it. So that's a good thing. He's welcoming someone to come in, take a look, see where we have opportunities, and see what we may be able to do better. Other than that, town hall meeting was decided, I think, on May 2nd. Notifications are going to be going out for that. I will tell you, on your park capital fund, we are looking at an increase. So it's not hopefully go down. I'm already looking at it and working at it, and I have a thing on here, which is funny. I want to talk with Nate prior to the submission of the next budget and see what we can do on that. I think it's important that we're working on these park dedication and trail dedication stuff, because that's going to be where we're going to have our lifeblood of the money coming in for this city. In terms of the new stuff for parks, I've already had 3 people email me saying, hey, I can't wait for the new stuff to get down to Coon Beach. It's going to be great. So that's positive. Usually, we may not get a lot of positive stuff. Mm-hmm. We're starting to get positive things. I'm starting to get positive emails coming from this department or this committee, so I thank you for that. I love the idea on the zip lines. I love the idea on the cornhole boards. I think those would be a real hit, at some of our bigger parks. Could even lead to leagues and stuff like that out there. I think it would be really fun, just based on the people we get to go to booster days and seeing who's involved in the tournament. I can see that happening at our major parks, no problem. Other than that, that's what I have to report. Thank you.
Do you have anything from what we asked about last time?
Regarding?
That, not John Anderson.
Well, that one section of trail along next to the one that goes
No, we
alongside
haven't
the
talked
one
about
house.
that.
We haven't contacted the residents at all yet.
Are we gonna move forward with that then this year? It's already in the budget. You were gonna, at the last meeting.
I need to talk to Nate about that. I know I need to talk to,
You wanted
it has to come before the council, kind of, so we can feel it out. As far as I'm concerned, it was approved, where it's been budgeted for.
Yeah, but I mean, it's already been to the council.
That's what I mean. It's been approved and it's been budgeted for. It's a matter of making sure that the resident knows what's going on. I haven't had time. I've had a terrible last month where I was out of town quite a bit. So
Do you think we could get that by the next meeting then?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I can do that. We've had a couple deaths in our family.
Oh,
So it's
that's too
been
bad.
rough. My wife lost both her parents in 3
Oh,
weeks.
Oh,
gosh.
my goodness,
So
I'm
we've been running
sorry.
back and forth to South Dakota, so
Oh.
there's some things I'm trying to catch up on yet, and got some asterisks by it.
Oh,
I'll definitely be touching base with you.
that's
next
too
time.
bad.
I had one other question
Yep.
too. On the first thing you mentioned, who's going to do the fire department? Did you guys have to hire a big company?
It
to
will
do
be
that?
coming from an outside source. It's gonna cost, in terms of that budget's overall numbers, it's 0.09% of their budget, so it's not even 1% of what we're looking at. Right now, we have.
Of the fire department's budget? you
Correct.
mean?
Correct. So it'd be around $10,000.
Oh, because, you know, remember when we did one for the parks quite a few years ago? And I think we spent a lot of money on that, and I'm not really sure that we got a really good return on that. I just wanted to mention that.
The Parks Comprehensive Plan deal in
Yeah.
2008 from,
Yeah,
I think it
that Boonsboro thing,
was Bonestro, yeah.
or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know, I see it, yeah.
I just
Mhm.
would, if I had to do it over again, I'd rethink that.
Right.
I just
Well,
wanted to mention
we've
that.
looked at it from a few different angles, and because of the size of the budget, and because of the person that we identified, who is a local company here, Capstone, it's not Capstone Homes, okay, it's a totally different,
Another
just a
Capstone.
similarity, they're not gonna be
Different
doing that,
branches.
okay? You know,
Bizarre.
so I wanna make sure that's very clear when we talk about that, but that's what this guy does. He goes in, he looks at every aspect of the fire department, response calls, how we're doing it, personnel, the whole 9 yards, accountability for financing, and we've got a pretty gosh darn good fire department here. We don't want to take anything away from it. We want to make sure we can either improve it, look at the opportunities in the future to improve it, make sure it's as efficient as possible so we're not wasting a dollar here. And because those costs keep going up every year and every year. I mean, we want to make sure that what we're doing here as a city, we're not only getting the best, but we're doing the best we can to make sure they have the best, which will play out for our residents tenfold. And that's why it's being done.
Thanks.
Good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you do.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize, I have one other thing that I should have brought up, and I've been asked to bring it to the meeting. Can we get a slow sign? I know we've battled this before, but can we get a slow sign by the park on the beach, like beach park, slow children, something, park?
The one
So,
by community center or Maynard Peterson?
The community center.
we do
Oh,
not,
right on the lake
we
there?
don't put up slow playground signs. We follow the MnDOT recommendation on that. I know we get that request all the time. It's been proven over and over and over in studies that the signs do not change driver behavior one
And
bit.
that's what I shared.
Yeah. The only thing we can really change driver behavior with is enforcement from our sheriff's department.
And that I did share as well.
And it's hard to catch people, so I know I get that call, that comment, probably more than anything is, how do we slow drivers down?
Do some people put up their own, like in Anoka, I know when you're driving through the city, they'll have that bright orange or bright green plastic thing?
Yes, yep,
Is that people that put their own
that's
up?
their own, yep.
Yeah,
We're looking at that. I just wanted it to be a
We've
part
got
of the
one in our
minutes.
yard.
I kind of knew the answer, but it's,
Yeah.
it-
We have those around the city too. Yep.
Oh, in East Bethel we do?
Residents have done that on their own.
Oh, I
Yep.
haven't
You
seen
do
one
it on
yet.
your own.
Yeah.
You can purchase, we have one.
we've
for
got
our
one in
grandkids,
there. We throw on the road and,
Cause they go really fast on Lake Shore. It's crazy. And
One of the biggest complaints is actually delivery drivers seems to be.
oh yeah,
they're terrible.
FedEx is the
But we all keep
worst.
buying stuff from Amazon.
I know.
too, so-
there just keeps being more and more of them.
Yep.
Yep.
Is there anything else? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I like it.
So moved.
This meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, bye.